roll, party hard, because that's what people do.
Come on. Cheers. All right. Do it.
Everyone exit! Fail to exit, you will be arrested and taken to jail! Fuck you!
Personally about these punk rock dudes that were like kind of from the other side of the tracks, that we didn't, you know, it's not like you didn't want to mess with them. There was no, you don't get near these, you don't even be near these guys. Like we don't, they had an awesome ramp, you know, but I couldn't go to it. You know, I wasn't gonna show up and be like, hey,
I was super young, and the scum ramp had just like kind of popped up down the street from my house. And I remember my mom being like, "Oh, you know, you skate, there's this ramp down the street." I used to go there with my skateboard and walk from my house from Maple over there and just sit on the edge of like their field, and you just see it like flying, you know? Like, oh dude, you just punk rock, bop, 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 just pulsing through it.
The band originally was formed out of a skate crew, a group of guys that had camaraderie and brotherhood, that at one point all lived on the same property and lived by the barbecue that was lit morning, noon, and night, literally, seriously, all fucking day. It was almost a gang thing, and we made music. It was just another part of our artistic expression. It was beyond our paintings, beyond the skating, beyond everything. We were going to make music and now deliver our message to other crews or other groups. And at 40 some odd years of age, you're still trying to justify why you're still in the gang and still doing the same shit. And 20 years in, you're still trying to make sure that fire is stoked. And it is stoked. It means a lot to me. Pretty much one of the coolest things that we had as a band was we had a property where everybody could come and jam out constantly. We had a family business called Chaparral Signs, and right next to it, that previously was a dog grooming room. We converted it into a band room, fully soundproofed it. You could play until 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you know, whatever. It was no holds barred, go for it. Everybody would come there. They'd come to skate the ramp that we talked about earlier. They would come and party their brains out, walk out in the morning. There'd be people strung out, hanging out their car every day. And I graduated in '88 and took all my graduation money and built a giant half pipe with all my buddies, who none of them helped until the last layer of masonite.
up thinking you're cool. You might be a punk from the old school. Maybe you're a con trying to work a scam. Or maybe undercover looking for a man. Give it some room to breathe. Get out of my face! Get out of my face! You don't mean shit to me. Get out of my face! Get out of my face!
What's happening, Mike Martin?
How's it going?
So I heard you're best friends with Tony of Boy Sinister for a long time. What do you think about Tony?
He's cool, man.
Yeah? What's your real fucking opinion?
Yeah, he's a piece of work.
Get out of my face! Get out of my face!
You gotta love the guy. He's a big fucking teddy bear that can kill you.
I was one of those kids that was, if I wasn't starting fights, motherfuckers were starting fights with me. Because in Morgan Hill, such a small town, and I had the only green mohawk, that it became, if you wanted to be cool, you had to hate me. And that sounds really weird now, but it's just 100% fucking true. I was the dude to hate if you wanted to be cool with the Cowboys or the Jocks or the fucking Cholos or whoever the fuck you were getting in with. So life was a bitch. To be punk in that time was a fucking bitch. In the 80s, punk wasn't cool, you know? And in a small town on the south side, fucked up. Referencing South Bay, we're talking about the South County of the San Francisco Bay Area. So it's from South San Jose on down to Gilroy. But as a kid, it was fucking the middle of nowhere, man. Just like in orchards, maybe one bus stop, you know, one... Monterey Highway was like the main road, you know.
It was hot and it was dirty. There's not much to do. And then bring in, it was a huge like Mexican migrant thing. So you had Norteños, you had Tuteños, and now you're a fucking white boy. Like, so I think a lot of us found, I don't know, we just found like skateboarding and punk rock and started like getting into it, and it just it stemmed from there.
There was a time in my life where I'd kind of like exhausted every avenue. I'd started too many fights at all the different parties. Some of my friends had gone on to be locked up in prison, and others just went on to college, and I really felt like I was alone. And one day Gwen drops in to see me, and where's everybody at? You know, I was like, I got nobody to drink beer with. So Gwen said to me, I know where Trevor is. I know where he lives, and I know the other people there, and there is a cool place to be. But I can't take you there unless you promise not to start a fight. These are my friends. And so I promised, I swore up and down, you know, that I'm not looking to do that, you know, I want to hang out. So she brings me to San Martin, to the scum ramp. Right when we pulled up, I see this guy, and he's just fully painting a mural on the side of this shop. You know, so I get out right away. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's bad. And right behind the shop, there's a big old half pipe. You know, people are skating, everybody's drinking, barbecue's going. And I'm like, paradise, you know? And I walk up, and Gwen's all, this is Mike, and Mike's painting with a professional sprayer, just doing this mural on the side of this thing. And I'm stoked, and he can see that I am, and he's all, you want a shot at it, man? You know, go ahead. So there I am now, and within minutes, painting skulls on the side of this building, you're totally into it, you know, we're drinking beers, laughing, painting the side of this building, making it look killer, you know, and that was just a match made in heaven right there. That was the first day I ever came over. It had to be maybe 88 or something. I never left.
And that's basically where the real chaos began, you know. From that point, you know, it's just, it was off the hook.
So we had back-to-back ramps, 16 feet wide. One was about 10 and a half, 11 foot high. The mini ramp was 6 foot high. We built a bar underneath the deck of the big ramp, in between the mini ramp, under the two decks. We built a bar under there. You know, we were all basically alcoholics, so you know, our priorities were let's get loaded, and we did a really good job of it.
We start jamming. The original lineup. Mike on drums, me on bass and vocals, Chuck Spites on guitar, and we're jamming. And every day we're into it. We're just writing songs, people skating, barbecuing, cool shit's happening. We start to really, I think we had about 4 or 5 songs, and I'm like, guys, I'm not a bass player. I'm having a hell of a time fucking playing bass and singing at the same fucking time. I got thoughts racing through my head. I got all these great things I want to say, you know. I'm gonna change the fucking world, but I can't do it if I'm playing bass, because I suck at it. Mike's an awesome bass player, but he's behind the kit. Great drummer as well. Best punk drummer I know. You're gonna have to play bass, Mike. We're looking for a drummer. We bring in Craig. Mike's already tried to make a project with Craig. Doesn't want to do it. I'm not gonna meet a man with this guy. I checked out Craig at another band practice. He's a great drummer. We bring in Craig on drums, move Mike to bass, I'm on vocals, Chuck's on guitar. Boom. Sad Boy Sinister.
What do you have to say, Chris?
It's all about the drummer. Let's not forget that.
Cut.
There is a band on stage.
Cut.
I grew up in Hollister, California, but at the age of 15, I just fucking left. I joined a band and I started touring and moved to Sacramento, ended up in Oregon, all types of different music. I would play anything that would try to make a buck off, you name it, blues, rock, metal, punk, never not getting into like country or anything like that. And I'm not good enough to play jazz, but I would just tour around and be a band whore here and there until I landed in Savoy, and that was pretty much it. Little did I know what I was getting myself into, but you know, it turned out to be pretty good all these years later.
It takes us a long time to do things. Other bands might do it overnight, I don't know.
My name is Bart, and I'm more commonly known in this area as Bart the Recording Guy. And I've been doing this for 22 years. Very, very lucky to be still doing this, and lucky that I can still hear. Those Sad Boy Sinister guys write the songs, they crank them out. They have a good stockpile of songs. One thing that I always really liked about them is I think their songwriting is really strong. They generally come in and record an album about every year and a half, 2 years, whenever they get a batch of songs. And sometimes they'll sit on the songs for a while. Mainly when I started out, there were no places for the younger bands to record. It was always too expensive, too hard to get into, nobody cared about the music. I think that band could be really popular, but it's like all the bands, there's so many good bands, and it's just that lucky break. It's so tricky.
Even though there's not a lot of money in it, it is living the dream, you know? It is doing what you want to do. It is creating art and performing it and sharing it with people that are interested and want to hear it and want to be a part of it, and that's a beautiful thing.
I think that was like the quick and easy version, thanks to me. Did we skip the lead?
Good ideas don't come out of once a month, you know. You gotta have that creative environment where sometimes you're just there jamming and you come out of something with improv. Other times you're working hard at something. You might need a couple days to really work it out, you know. So we've always had that work schedule, that work ethic in our band, and lo and behold, we've burnt a lot of people out. They've quit. They couldn't handle it. They thought they could, but they just couldn't make it. And we just moved to the next guy, and then to the next guy, and sometimes longer than others.
But as long as you paid your fucking your $8 and you had a good time and you walk out with a black eye and you made a friend out of it, I mean, what the fuck else is there, you know? It's better than sitting around holding your dick in your hand being like, well, hey dude, don't push up against me.
I met Kyle at a bar in San Jose, the Caravan. I basically handed him a CD and said, show up Thursday and know these tunes, you know? And we played over 15 songs in one fucking shot, boom. And he played a mint, like the record. And he stoked us and blew us away, you know? That's a lot of work. There's another guitar player, he's a busy guy, he plays in a couple other bands. Innovative, young, 10 years younger probably. New ideas. One of the many things we experienced along the way was there's, you know, you go through these different things where people are on and off the wagon or in and out of the band because of incarceration or other things. And one of the things I had to learn to do in the middle was when Chloe was born, I got off drugs. It just happened overnight. I just fucking woke up one day and was like, I gotta get my life together, you know? And it wasn't a conscious thought. It wasn't even like I thought, I gotta get my life together. It's just, I dropped a lot of bad habits. And I didn't think they were gonna affect me in any way. But when we were on stage in front of a crowd, all of a sudden I felt like I didn't know how to do it. Or I wasn't sure that I wanted to or knew how, you know? I had to learn how to perform as Sad Boy Sinister, not as wasted as I was used to being. You know, we had always performed and we'd always lived wasted, you know, on numerous things, whatever it was. And all of a sudden I found myself on stage. It was like it happened in the middle of a song, and I'm looking out at the Cactus Club at a crowd and realized I'm on fucking stage and I got to remember the words, and I'm nervous, and realized this is still what I want to do. This is my passion, not doing it because I'm high. Doing it because I love the music and I love the message. So that was something new to learn, you know, and coexisting with my partners as well with a different mindset. And that would go in and out. You know, that changed throughout the years for all of us. At different times we'd go on and off the wagon. Believe me, if I had to imagine that my band was going to last 22 years, I would have never imagined it. Not by any fucking means. You know, me and Mike, the same two guys, the founding members, not a chance. Drugs, alcohol, incarceration, whole nine, you know? I don't know what it was. The love of the music, the love of the scene, you know, I believe in, I'm not exactly sure what it means when somebody says, I believe in punk rock, I believe in the fucking music scene. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I do. I do.
Fuck the place up! You guys fuck the place up, man!
I love to play shows. I love to be out there. I love to create. I love to write songs. I love to record. And I don't give a fuck if we play a show to nobody. And a fight breaks out and empties the house. I still go, yeah, we did it. We lived another night, you know?
I still could put gas in my tank. I can still play punk rock. And nothing's really changed since I've been young. I'm still doing the same thing. But if you love it, then it's all worthwhile in the end, you know?
It's harder now because of jobs and family, but it's still doable, and everybody's doing it, and things go in phases. The old bands come back, venues reopen.
We do get calls from people out of state, but those guys got to pay us to go there. You know, we still have responsibilities, and if you can't pay us to go, then you know we'll play in Oakland.
I'll be in Sad Boy till the day I die, but I'll never quit the band. I mean, I freelance in other bands and I do this and that, but when it starts interfering with Sad Boy, even I've been in bands that were doing really well, it's Sad Boy or nothing.
Nobody, even when you're from San Jose, you don't even know where San Martin is, and it's 50 minutes, 45 minutes up the road. You know what I mean? And like, it's like these guys are doing something, you know, and they've always been like this very, very small, close-knit group of dudes. It's like the scum guys. Like there's the guys in the band, and then there's a few outlying kind of members, but like I think it's amazing that they're all together, and they're all together still, and they're all like brothers, and they all, you know, like, I think that's fantastic. I think that's crucial to be a band like that. They played a show last night, I think, with Fang and a bunch of other guys that are still going at it, you know? Like, I'm 35 years old. I want to keep going because these guys are going, you know? Like, I play in a bunch of bands now, and I want to play in a bunch of bands when I'm, pardon my, I'm sorry guys, but your age.
We don't want to really get lost here. We're just passing through. We're going to move on our little journey through life. So, why don't we move on? I mean, just drink that. You ready to go?
It comes in waves. You know, it's like you're okay, right when you think that the scene's gonna end, you're like, holy crap, you got that show that made it all worthwhile. That's what you strive for every time. That one show where the crowd is just into it and the music sounds great and you can be a part of it and makes it all worthwhile. You know, then the next night you play and it's like, oh, what's going on, man? The sound sucks. There's 4 people there. You're like, man, why do I still do this? Then the following week you're like, yeah, that was right. That's why we did it. We high-five each other, you know, handshakes and hugs and all that, and I was like, that blew my mind. And it still does it to this day. We'll still have a show where you get yourself blown away, you know, from stuff you've been doing forever, but you know, it goes up and down, and that's what makes it worthwhile when you go look out there and people are just beating the shit out of themselves and saying, yeah, they just wrecked the club, and you're just like pouring sweat, and you're like, man, that made it all worthwhile.
What we got here is 100 proof Yukon Jack, 50% by volume. Take a pint, 2 liter of Mountain Dew, bunch of lemons. Don't waste it. You can see in there's lemons, right? Well, that makes scum brew. You're partying with the scum guys, you need scum brew. This is what you do. We drank it and left.